Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code The Wigan Way, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
So, we're back with another episode of the Wigan Way after a nice win over in France. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get over to France to watch the game, but looked a real good game. Interesting that it was 8 o'clock. What did you make of that, guys? The later kick-off, obviously 9 o'clock over in France.
Oh, like they needed it. Them players just seemed like they walked out for the warm-up, picked up a ball, and then sweat just started pumping off them for about 2 hours. It looked like it was roasting, but like a bar of soap as well at times.
December said that to Sky Sports, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got man of the match, didn't he? Went speaking, coughs have started already. Started speaking to him and he said, it's boiling here, isn't it? And I think a couple of people were laughing like how common Wigan it come across, but yeah, they were feeling the heat.
So a good win.
Yeah.
Sets us up for a really good week this week with Hull KR and a top of the table clash, and it looks like, along with Warrington, who are obviously in there fighting, but potentially a decider for who finishes first, second and third. It is really good that the top of the table is this close, and you've got massive games before the playoffs. Sometimes the season seems a little bit flat coming towards the end of the playoffs. Everyone's just sort of waiting to hit form, especially last season and now this one as well.
Everyone's jostling for position.
It seems really interesting. It's keeping every game meaning something. I found myself watching the Warrington game, really interested in the result there. Watching the Saints Huddersfield game and who's going to win there, who's going to get 2 points, who's going to make the 6.
Huddersfield and Cass both want to finish top of that mini league at the bottom, and no one wants to finish bottom. There's 5 teams chasing for 3 spots in the playoffs, and the top 3 are all jostling for position. So yeah, it's brilliant at the minute.
The Super League social media pages are posting like graphics of, they're in the playoffs because mathematically, I think also Hull KR, we can't come out of it now mathematically. There might be another team in there
Warrington
as well.
Warrington, right?
Yeah, Warrington, pardon me, as well. But it's not just that, you want to be last 3 games this season, every team wants to build momentum. It's not just good enough to be in the playoffs. We're safe. You can't take your foot off the gas. You want to be building momentum. Momentum's such a big thing in sport, isn't it? So you want to go on to build momentum as they're reaching in the playoffs.
Do you take anything from the fact that the loop fixtures have made it a little bit unfair? Some people are saying, because it's meant to be even, isn't it? You're meant to play the other odd teams. If you were
the other even teams,
if you were an even finisher, you're playing the other even teams. The problem with that is Hull FC finished 10th, and London technically 12th. So those are 2 even teams. So if you're an even team, you've got them, and they've won.
So who was the even teams last year? Saints. Catalans finished second.
Saints weren't. Catalans,
Hull KR,
Warrington.
So are you saying potentially had an easier?
Well, they've had 3 games each against the bottom
2,
2, and everyone else has only had 2 games each against them.
I've said this before, you solved that very easy. Just
No,
home and away, home and away. Magic weekend. You're done.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly fair, but how else do you do it?
You don't have loop fixtures.
If you're going to have them, you're going to end up with a situation where because there's never been a season in rugby league where the same teams that finished 1 to 12 finish in similar positions. There's always a team that gets better. There's always a team that gets worse.
You can't. I don't think you should be allowed to have loop fixtures if you've only got 12 teams in your league. If you still want 27 games, fine. share the revenue out a bit more and add 2 teams to the league. I think you either bite the bullet and have 23 games, which obviously the owners don't want because they need more home games for revenue, or you invite 2 more teams into the league and you still have 27 games, but you share out the TV revenue. That would be the decision that they should have to make.
I don't think that'd be that's where ING have got to make a tough call, in my opinion.
I don't think it's an unpopular opinion that loop fixtures must go. I think if you did a straw poll of everybody involved in rugby league, I'm sure there would be less than 10% in favour of loop fixtures remaining. Because A, they're unfair, B, they lead to more fixture fatigue, and C, I just think it feels like the owners are cashing in.
Yeah.
And D, I'm sick of going to play Cass.
We are sick of
Because I haven't seen me ever play
Cass.
Cass. We got this week. Cass.
We have played Cass so many times.
It's been a while since we've actually played Castle.
Yeah, we played him like 5 times.
4 times in 9 weeks.
10 games.
Yeah. Right, should we jump onto this game then and the details behind it?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a 26 points to 18 win. It was 12-12 at half time. Wigan tries were Field, Kieran, December, Forber. Kieran kicking 5. Obviously, we conceded very late on. Let's probably start at the end with that. Conceding late on, it was 26-12. Be a little bit disappointed to concede that and only win by 8.
Disappointed to concede the way we conceded all 3 times.
Mm.
Conceding when the other team's in their own half, first try. Conceding off a kick, second, which I can understand, conceding off a kick. But we had 2 chances to clean it up and still not doing. And number 3, uncontested kick into the corner. Like, you're just going to let them score.
Yeah.
That was the most disappointing for me because we didn't even try and stop them.
So, obviously, we can open the scoring with a Field try. Again, Catalans will be a little bit disappointed with this. It's always disappointing when you concede from your own half. But it started with a great carry from Junior and a great offload. Ellis, missed that step out. And Ellis offload. Really brought that into his game in the last half a season.
Ellis offloads this not even a second, half a second earlier, and we don't score. It's a last possible chance for him to offload the ball, and the defensive line is retreating. Then you're going to get the ball to Nsemba. He's going to run it in straight, and then he gets the offload away himself, and Jake Wardle just does what Jake Wardle does and gets past people. Really strong. There's a point where he's got the defender basically dragging him back and still manages to break through. It's really great work.
Classic, John Wells would say.
He did, I think. Yeah.
And then back inside, and again to Field to open up the scoring. And that makes it 6-0.
He only just popped his finger back in at this point as well.
Yeah, it's about 90 seconds after he dislocated his finger.
Well, the physio popped it back in for him anyway.
It was weird because obviously he dropped the ball early on. We should probably mention it. And then where I was watching the game, someone shouted that Field was in the background and he wasn't in the attacking set. And I'm sort of like surprised. And you could see him in the background messing around with his finger, and he just they go through me things like that. Catalans score next, as you said, from their own half. A simple breakthrough. Yaha gets around Field. Field's got a really difficult situation to defend the 3-on-1.
Yeah, I think he slips as well.
Yeah.
French kind of tracks back Tom Davis, and which means Field can attack the ball carrier. But I think he slips. You can see the turf give way underneath him, and the top probably more about the pitch. It looked awful, but turf gives way underneath his feet. French still nearly gets back to Yaha, considering he sprinted right to get to Davis.
Yes.
He still catches Yaha. 5 more metres, that's not a try.
No.
So it's a great defensive effort, but Yaha's a clever player, and he just about had enough to get over the line there.
Yeah. Catalans then obviously score again. They take the lead 12-6. Don't deal with the kick. Very
reoccurring theme this game. That noticed that watching it, just not dealing with kicks.
I think Field messed one up.
Field messed one up before he dislocated his finger in the tackle. Marshall drops a couple. We'll talk about the third try in a second, but Miski just doesn't go up for it and contest it. And Miski actually looked probably the strongest in the game out of the back 3.
We've had this problem before in France.
Yeah, just not.
Similar to Toulouse, wasn't
Toulouse,
it?
I was thinking Miski's debut was in Toulouse, wasn't it? We had trouble with the high kicks there, all our back line.
Yeah. But obviously they keep the ball alive and have more men in the picture and end up scoring a relatively easy try for Fage. Takes it to 12-6.
Yeah, it took a long time looking at it. I think the players would have been grateful for the rest, though.
Yes, I was going to mention that. There was a couple of decisions that went to the video ref that were really long.
Took ages, given it like it was obviously a try.
We'll talk about Forbes' try now.
Yeah.
It took an awful long time there. I don't really know what he was looking at.
Well, the Catalan one was whether or not you can't head the ball forward and then go, but he didn't do it on purpose. Clearly,
Just it's his shoulder, then it's his head.
He clearly wasn't promoting the ball with his head or anything. It was just a try that we just messed it up.
3 minutes before the end, Tom Forber levels the score.
Yeah,
obviously Kieran converts it to make it 12 apiece. Good carry from Junior. Gets us really, really close to the line. And Forber's probably not going to score an easier try here.
I think McNamara will be disappointed with his defence for this try.
Yeah.
You can understand the field one, with the good offload and
keeping the ball alive.
Keeping the ball alive, good bit of work. But this was just too easy.
Yeah. Morg shoots out from the line. He's in the at marker.
He tries to go over, doesn't he? Like, someone's on... Junior's left somebody on the floor.
Yeah,
defender.
And he kind of jumps over him to try and tackle, and Barber just goes, cheers, you just left me a massive gap, and just literally runs around and dives over untouched.
And if you're going to jump out like that, you have to make the tackle. We talk about it all the time when we defend. Don't try and solve a problem that's not there yet. And I think Morg does this. At no point does it look like Forber's going to try and dive in. There's too many bodies on the floor around him.
I think he was going to pass it to Wardle.
Yeah. I think he was just going to play to the left.
Wardle had a chance to score. I think he was just going to pass it to Wardle and see if he could score.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I thought he was going to do.
And then Morg jumps out, falls off him, and it leaves it really open for Tom Forber. Just want to mention Tom Forber. Probably the first game that he's really got some big minutes in. He played a good 45 minutes, I would say. 20 or so before and 20 or so after half time.
Yeah.
Was really impressed with him.
Yeah.
Me too. His distribution from 9 was excellent. Obviously, his defence is clearly somewhere to work on, but he's not the biggest 9.
But again, I don't think he went away from any contact.
No, he didn't. He certainly didn't.
Who was it that nailed him? Was it Satai?
I think Satai bumped him off, but Satai can bump anybody off.
That's what I mean. But again, next time
Satai
Satai
took the ball, Williams and Sam Powell, never mind. Tom Forber.
But this is where I want to credit him. The next time Satai took the ball in, Forber was the first one there to make contact, and he got a better contact, hung on. And you're going to learn that. He's going to have to learn that over the next 12 to 18 months. He's
a really handy player, isn't he? People have been talking about him for a while, saying he's a really, really handy player. And we've seen him quite a bit this year with the injuries to first Lehman and then O'Neill. He's our third choice hooker. And we're missing a hooker, and you need 2 usually. So I don't know why you wouldn't pick him.
Was really, really impressed.
I certainly wouldn't be worried about throwing him into a big game like this Friday.
No,
coming off the bench. I think he's a real talent.
Well, that was the thing we talked about, that with him, whether you wanted to throw him into a game like this on Friday, we had to see him beforehand. We had to see him get minutes. You couldn't just not play him and then chuck him in this game if something happened to Lehman. And he's took his chance, and he's probably earned himself a bench spot or a squad or a spot in the 17.
I agree.
For
the remainder of the season, for me.
Yeah,
certainly would be for the remainder of the season.
12-12 at half time. What are your thoughts? I was quietly confident at this point. I thought that try before half time, so late on, was a killer for Catalan.
Yeah, I mean, I was. I thought we were lucky to be level. We were 15 out of 23 completed sets at half time. 15 out of 23, not good enough. 15 missed tackles.
Was it 7 knock-ons and like a forward pass or something?
8 errors, 15 missed tackles, and only 15 out of 23 is you're not going to win many games with them stats, but we were level.
It's the same thing we've said for the last couple of weeks, really. And I'm not trying to say that we've won at the end of the day, but if there is one thing to tidy with, every time we seem to concede or we've had a bit of a bad performance but someone managed to get a win, we just say it's just errors. We tidy those things up.
We've talked about it for a long time, our fitness and ability to go to the 80 minutes. Not a lot of teams in Super League can play top level rugby. 80 minutes set for set. But if you keep dropping the ball and keep having to defend, you're not taking the energy out of them.
No.
Our best performances this season have come when we've took the game long, defended well, and then put points on in the last 20 when teams have run out of energy and we're still flying.
Yeah.
And I don't want to jump forward to predictions, but facing a team like KR, you can't make 8 errors in the first half.
No, you can't give them 8 off.
No.
You turn the ball over to them 8 times, can you? They'll punish you.
They will, yeah.
And again, I said it a lot
And that was actually the Catalans' problem when they played against Hull KR
a couple of weeks ago.
a few weeks ago. Yeah, Magic Weekend, Catalan gave them too many opportunities, too much free ball in the wrong part of the field.
Yeah. So second half kicks off. It takes just 3 and a bit minutes for Wigan to get on the score sheet with Junior December. A play from the right hand side. French to Ellis. Ellis takes it to the line and to Kieran. We talk about the threat of field and having that double threat of field and French. Field looping round on the outside. He just leaves Theo Farge one-on-one with Junior December. I think it's Theo Farge, or maybe it might have been Rouge, sorry. But defending someone like Junior, you're not going to stop him one-on-one. Consistently, you might get away with it once.
Yeah, I agree. He's turned into quite the try scorer, hasn't he?
He's loving a try this season. It's the Chris McQueen.
He actually
season's
is
gone
the
by.
Chris McQueen
Loves
of
a
Super
try.
League, yeah,
He
he's
did love a try.
try scoring back rower.
But it's that threat, the threat of field out the back. It's really good hands by Kieran, who I want to give some credit to. Obviously, played in the halves for Harry Smith. Was you surprised to see him stay in the halves over Farrimond? Because I thought Kieran was going to play when I saw French named in the squad.
Well, I knew Kieran was going to play.
I mean in the halves.
Oh, I'm not sure actually.
Only because I've been really impressed. He seems to be the one that has the long kicking. And I'm not sure whether French and Farrimond both potentially have that long kicking game. Harry Smith does it when everyone's fit. Harry Smith does it when everyone's fit. So to me, it was quite interesting that Kieran stayed on that left-hand side for Smith. And from what I expect, next week we'll go back to centre and
Yeah,
Smith will come back in. That might be the way that they go if Smith doesn't play, to have Kieran potentially for that longer kicking that he has.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen a couple of sets, especially in the first half, kick early, kicking on the third and fourth tackles. I think that game plan, unless you've got someone that Farrimond is, both Farrimond and French, to be fair. Little short kicks in behind, little chips and stuff just over the defensive line into the corner, they're both okay with. But I think when you're stuck in your own half, you just want a long boot and shift the momentum around. You need some of the big boot. So I'm not surprised with French playing that Kieran did go into the halves.
I wouldn't mind though.
Long kicking game.
I wouldn't mind if next week Kieran drifts in and puts a few up.
Takes an early kick.
Yeah, don't necessarily an early kick. Just if we've got a third kick option there, and you can just launch it.
That's what I mean. Obviously, sometimes we've looked a little bit
It feels like you can if you put kick pressure on Smith.
Yeah,
you know he's going to get the ball.
possibly just to see him drift in, and if there is really good kick pressure on him, you can just play the other way to Kieran.
Yeah,
and I think that'd take so much pressure off him, Harry Smith, with his long kicking. 4 minutes later, we score again. Set up through field, but I want to mention December's run. We talked about him just scoring then. Kieran offers the ball to Junior. Sorry, I forgot his name then. To Junior, back on the inside, and it just pulls Farge inside, and he's trying to defend alongside McMeekin, and it creates that 3-on-2 for field to attack at. He finds Marshall and Kieran back on the inside to score.
Marshall's pretty good at passing back inside like this, isn't he?
Done it to Farrell many times, hasn't he?
There was a time where he was just kicking it this year. I feel like you're great at that pass back inside, just by yourself.
And it's just, for me, it's just that different threat. Obviously, December just ran through Farge, comes back on the inside, creates an overlap so simply, and and Field finds the right pass. That takes it to 26-12. 10 minutes to go. Cruz Leeming gets a yellow card.
Yeah.
He hasn't picked up a ban.
No, he was yellow carded for an accumulation,
Yeah.
so I've never seen anybody get banned for an accumulation of fouls.
What really surprised me with it was...
The one he sent him off for wasn't a foul.
No.
He had so many chances to send him off.
He's sent him off for... They ended up saying high tackle, didn't they? It was high.
Because he gave a late hit and then someone told him in his ear it wasn't late at all. They actually hit him while he still had the ball.
Yeah.
So then he said, it's not late, it's high, which isn't true either. So I don't know why this was the one that saw him give him a yellow card. I think actually Lehman had given him plenty of opportunity to put him in the sin bin throughout the game. Lehman had been towing the line between sportsmanship and gamesmanship. You know what I mean? He was employing the dark arts a bit, Lehman. And I thought the ref would have been within his rights to maybe sin bin him when he had those deliberate offsides near the line, and then for him to actually give him a sin bin for this felt a bit deflated, really.
Do you remember they used to do the circular signal for the
Yeah, the
accumulation
team
of penalties?
warning,
The
yeah.
team warning. They used to do the big circular
I think he
one.
put Lehman on just an individual warning.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he spoke to someone about a set earlier, on the line.
I think Ellis was acting as captain,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh,
So he
so
brought
Ellis was
Ellis in
captain.
and said, one more, and someone's going sitting down.
But then this wasn't actually... He
Yeah,
didn't do
I know.
anything wrong this time. It was unlucky, I guess, but...
I guess you can kind of write it off, just that it didn't affect the game.
No,
It's not been
no,
banned.
no.
You kind of move on, but
Because
yeah.
he gets a
it's
10-minute break, I suppose.
Yeah,
a
10 minutes
strange
off.
one.
We defend that for 7 or 8 minutes, and we end up conceding with 3 minutes to go. Now, there is always calls with kicks to the corner to just let them have it. And tackle
Not
them
that
as they
close
lap.
to the line.
Not 2 metres away from the line. There's too much to happen. I don't necessarily mind it 20 metres away.
If it was even 10 metres
Yeah.
away, I could understand it, but it's not that close to the line.
And it just allows Yaha to get up, knock the ball inside to the centre of his name. I forgot now.
Well, it's Laguerre or Romano, whichever
Romano,
one.
sorry.
Romano's good.
Romano.
This was just like training, kick to the corner. The guy's got the tackle pad just to
That's it, right.
just to pass. Yeah, just to
Practice of contact.
just to practice the contact, just to nudge the winger. See if you can still catch it or pass it back. It's just a bit too easy.
Yeah. It felt a little bit too easy.
And I thought it was a shame because that's the Miski. Pardon me. Was okay under the eyeball for the rest of this game. Like, it was looking a bit shaky. Field
Well, I
dropped
know,
one.
right?
Marshall dropped a couple. Miski seemed the strongest, and then in the last second, it just doesn't go uncontested kick. Maybe he's got his feet wrong, his positioning wrong, so he can't get.
That's probably
run
what it
and jump
was.
up.
That's probably what it was. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't.
Well, it didn't affect the end result, but yeah, a bit of too easy of a try to concede you about, Matty.
So that wraps the game up. 26 points to 18. Takes us back joint top. A lot of relief of just getting the 2 points. And
I think it's the toughest fixture. Every year when I look at the fixture list, that's circled as the toughest fixture. Catalan away is the toughest fixture, not because it's the toughest team, but because that crowd is very, very ferocious. They do tend to get all the referee decisions because of how ferocious they are, and I respect that, and I'm nothing against that at all. And you've got the travel issues, and you've got,
and still no one seems to have fully worked out the best way to travel there.
no.
Whether it's to go on the day or
So I
2
think
days early.
if you can win in Catalan, that's an excellent 2 points. Even if you win 1-0, 100-0, take the 2 points, you'd be very happy to win at Catalan.
Here's one for you. Is that the worst loot fixture to get, Catalan away twice? Because it'll have happened to some teams this year.
They will have, yes.
I think that might be the worst.
Yeah, that's unlucky if you get Catalan away twice.
Maybe for Wigan getting Saints away
The
twice.
Saints have got Wigan away. Well, no, they didn't because one of them was Magic. Yeah, Lee have got Wigan away twice. That's very unlucky for them, I think.
That's why I just think it's so unfair.
It is unfair. It's an unfair system, and if you're going to have loot fixtures, you're going to have an unfair system. The NRL has an unfair system. Let's call it out. It's got loot fixtures. So it's an unfair system.
Yeah. Right. I think that wraps up the review of the game. Leaves us in a good position for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
The hype around this game this week is massive now. I think both teams getting a result was important. Both teams need to win. And I think it sets up the rest of the season. Really great. Right, we'll come back and we'll have a set of 6.
Right then, time for the set of 6, and we're going to start off with our Eyecatchers. What has caught your eye in the world of rugby league this week, Lewis?
What's caught my eye this week? A couple of angry coaches has caught my eye. We've had one over in the Super League and one over in the NRL. We'll start off with Super League, shall we? Sam Burgess was a very, very angry man, and I felt very, very sorry for... It's Mark Wilson, isn't it? Who used to be on Channel 4, and now they've got him over on Sky, having to interview him. So the kind of if you look on Sky Sports News, whatever, Burgess slams embarrassing red because he said it's embarrassing, but that doesn't really articulate how angry Sam Burgess was.
He was very angry.
It's red though. It's a red card.
Yeah.
Well, whether you think it's a red or not, it's been a red all season.
It's red,
and he's had no problem with it being a red all season. He's found that very interesting that it's been a red all season, and he's agreed with it.
But what he said it was embarrassing. I remember Matt Wilson just said, but he was trying to give him praise and was like, but your team responded well, didn't they, Sam? Trying to like get him on his...
Which was true.
Yeah, he got his good side, and Sam just like kept interrupting him. We won the game 12-10. Okay, after the card. Yeah, 12-10. Okay. And really confrontational with him, and he was like, he's only trying, and you could tell that he was just felt so awkward asking the questions.
He doesn't like not getting his way, does he?
Sorry?
Richie Milo stopped him having an extra sub because they messed up.
Well, we spoke about that, didn't we? When
This is the second time he's not got his own way.
When they messed up and he didn't get his own way. He's all happy and
friendly.
other times. But I think another one who's a bit like that was Uncle Derek giving him a bit of a message on Twitter the following day saying he's found a dummy outside Lee Sports Village. I think it belongs to Sam Burgess.
He tweeted that after the...
Picture himself holding a dummy.
Picture himself holding a dummy. Said, I just found this outside Lee Sports Village. I believe it belongs to Sam Burgess.
Derek.
I do love that.
If there's one person who's going to get himself involved, it's Derek Bourne.
I love it.
But if the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think Derek would have found it very funny.
No, the ball.
How do you know?
No, I don't.
Derek can't put the baby that he does and calling fans out on Twitter for fights and everything, and then when he finally gets one up, he starts giving it bigger and sharper. No, he can't do it. And then we had another angry coach over in the NRL, involving an Englishman, Elliot Whitehead, who had just a brain fart of the game for Canberra.
It was poor, wasn't it?
He had several brain farts.
If we start off with the actual angry coach, so to be fair, this bit wasn't a brain fart, it was a complete accident when you watch it. So Brandon Smith, the Sydney Roosters 9, has gone down in what I'd probably describe as an accidental hip drop. He's getting away from Whitehead. He goes to grab him, almost hits him with a high tackle and kind of just falls. And as he falls, he does fall to the back of his leg. Brandon Smith, consequently, is out for the rest of the season. So he has suffered a bad knee injury with it when he has had knee injuries before.
Yeah.
So obviously the Roosters as a club are gutted for him and the fact of losing a player this close to the business end of the season. After the game, Whitehead has gone to check if he's alright. He's gone up to the Roosters kind of camp and said, "How's Brandon? How is he?" Trent Robinson, the coach, has heard this and he's called him out and apparently shouted over to him, give him a load of stick, said that tackle has been in your career, throughout your career. It's happened too many times for it to be an accident, and accused him of going out there to hurt him on purpose.
Strong words.
Isn't this the tackle that's
and then in the media, I think someone asked Whitehead, what did Trent say to you? And he kind of said, he had a bit of a pop at me, which I think is a bit out of order. I was just trying to check on Brandon. I don't go out there to hurt anybody. He is injured and I am sorry about that. I don't go out there to purposely injure players. And then they asked Trent about it. Whitehead said this. What's your take on it? And Trent Robinson was very, very open, again, saying what I've just said there. But I've known him when his time at Bradford and Catalans, and that tackle's been in his game throughout all of his career. It's happened too many times for it to be an accident. He's really called him out in the media.
Do you not think... Didn't this tackle only start getting banned about 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, it'd been around and whatever, but it had become an issue. So to say it's been in his game for the last 15 years...
I don't know,
and now to call it out's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Is it as funny as when Ricky called someone a weak-gutted dog?
Well,
That was another bad one.
That was just really serious as well.
He got fined $25,000 for that. Well, $1,000.
$5,000.
So
yeah, that was bad when Ricky called that.
I reckon Trent will get a big fine. I reckon
Maybe
like
he's not
maybe.
calling.
I suppose he's not insulted.
No,
him,
that was
has
an
he?
insult.
He's accused him essentially of being a dirty
You
player.
accuse someone of being deliberately doing it.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't give him an insult like we got to know was a serious.
It's personal, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's not him as a player. That's having a personal insult at him, isn't it?
Definitely.
Personally insulted a player to say you go out deliberately trying to injure players.
Whitehead then
Yeah,
also
but
did
he's
have
not-
a serious one.
He said it in a roundabout way, hasn't he? Ricky Stewart went, "You are a weak, gutted
Oh, yeah.
dog," and used
Yeah.
those words. He's kind of said that tackles when you. He's not gone. You are an intentionally dirty player. You are a grub.
Yeah.
You are. He has, but implicitly, hasn't he? Not directly, I suppose.
He did do a weird moment though, Whitehead, didn't he, in this game?
Oh, go on. I'll let you explain it.
Well,
it's amazing.
but to first of all, he got simmed in this game, and it wasn't even for a hit drop.
He was trying to tackle this guy.
No, he did. He got sinned in for that as well. He got sinned
He
in
got
twice.
two simbins.
So he got two,
yeah.
did he?
Yeah, he got sinned
He was
in
trying
twice.
to tackle this guy, and the bloke was fending him off at arm's length, and he had the ball in his other hand, so Whitehead couldn't get to it. So he decided to try and boot it out of his grasp, like a one-on-one ball steal, but instead of using your hands to steal it, you just kick it out.
Because he can see he's about to offload. He's got him.
Yeah, he didn't want to offload it. He wanted to clamp
And
down
he just
on the
thinks,
ball.
I've got an idea. If I throw my boot at the ball, I might be able to kick it out of his grip. And he misses the ball and just ends up kicking him. And the ref just blows up, puts him on report, and sends him for 10 minutes.
Obviously, he's going to miss the ball from that distance. He was trying to kick the ball and not the man. It's impossible.
Like I said, the hip job, I think, was accidental. This definitely wasn't.
This
It
was
just,
a stupid moment.
It was just, this was a brain film. But yeah, that was my eye
Definitely
catcher. A couple of angry coaches this week.
Coach is being angry. Tom, what was your eye catcher?
Well, IMG, for something we weren't really expecting them to come out with, potentially want to bring a War of the Roses back. A British state of origin.
Go for it.
Yorkshire, Lancashire. I wonder what the plan is with the season. If they're going to keep 27 weeks and then try and do what the NRL do, where they stagger the teams so you don't get too hard done to by it. You'll end up with 30 rounds of Super League. It'll take that long just for the league, then the cup and all that. So they're going to have to figure the league out. But would you like to see it?
We said before we would. Yeah, we would. Just give it a different flavour. A more intense game. It'd make us a better national side for sure. The only thing that I'm sure a lot of people will bring up and might be shouting at the radio at this point is that the clubs won't release the players for it because they've not released
clubs back in, doesn't it?
Yeah, they've
The
not
clubs
released the
have got
players
against,
for other similar fixtures before, and if you don't release the best players, it just falls flat, doesn't it?
This is where it has to be done as it's an audition to get in, and what they can't do is do it once and not be great, and then go, it's a failure, move on. State of Origin wasn't great at the start.
No.
And it got to the point where the players wanted to play it. They were demanding to go and play it. And that was a part of kicking it off, really. So it has to be done as an audition. Who steps up in the big games? I would expect Sean Wayne.
It would certainly be intense.
To influence his team's selection based off who performs well in that game. And
you know what I'd like for this is if you gave two up and coming young English coaches the chance to coach the sides. They're going to be a week or so in camp for each game. But if you had a couple of young English coaches, Danny Maguire could coach the side, the Yorkshire side. You could have Sam Tompkins coaching the Lancashire side, or somebody, it doesn't have to be that, but somebody like that who's an aspiring coach who's coming up, and making them a stronger coach that would make our game stronger.
I just think just back it. If they're going to do it, back it and see where we're at in 5, 6, 10 years. We've done the France test for 3 years. We did the Excels for 3 or 4 years. It's not doing great, so they just move on. And then everyone thinks it would have been the right idea if they carried it on. So if they do it, they've got to back it and go long term. Yep. Matty, what caught your eye?
The mercurial number 7, Sean Johnson, would play his final game this weekend. The man who has tormented so many defenders over his career. He's had an excellent career. And it was his final game. His side, New Zealand Warriors, they had the final home game last week, which they lost. This was the final ever game It came down to the wire against the Sharks at Shark Park. They were losing. The last touch of a rugby ball with his hands, he pulled off an outrageous try assist for Dallin Watini-Zelezniak to get over in the corner to win the game. That is stuff you dream of, isn't it?
Against a former club as
against
well.
his former club, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
When you're thinking you're going to retire, you're going to hang up the boots, you're a club legend, probably at both these clubs if we're honest, because he did great work for Cromer as well. You want to finish it with a great moment. And, you know, Tompkins had that great moment, but it was in the semi-final. He didn't really have it in his last game, where, you know, you sink a rival team and you put on a lovely play. And that was a lovely play. He described it as a touch football play. He was skipping across the line, he was dodging defenders, he put out the cut-out pass. The only blot on the copybook was that he missed the conversion. So technically his last kick of a ball was not successful.
So it weren't an easy one,
No, it was a different, and they'd already won the game because they were only 2 points behind when he scored. But for his final play of actual rugby to put Dallin over, and there was also a passing of the torch moment because what's that young halfback called who scored for them, number 6?
Name's gone.
It'll come to me in a minute. But Johnson basically put him over for a try.
Nice.
You know, and he was in his last game, and this young lad's coming through. I think he'd been at the Sharks before as well, and Johnson broke the line and put him over for a try. I thought that's like a passing of the torch that moment, and then he goes and puts Dallin over.
So good that because so many players don't get it.
No,
I remember being at a sportsman's dinner with Leon Price. And he was talking about his last game, and he obviously played for a couple of different clubs towards the end of his career, Catalans, Hull, I think, and then he went back to Bradford, trying to help them after obviously they took the turn for the worst of the club. And he was basically playing on painkiller injections with a really bad knee injury. And he went down and had to get carried off. And the Bradford fans were actually kind of booing him because they thought he'd just come for like one last big paycheck type thing or whatever. And he was saying I was at my own club, Bradford, where I made my name and, you know, where I supported as a kid. And that was my, you know, like you just said there, Matty, you dream of as a player, these big retirement fairy tale endings. And so it ends up so many where they don't get to go out on their own terms, injury cuts the career short, whatever. So to see a superstar like Sean Johnson have that fairy tale ending, it's class.
And I've got to say, he was like, he took it on from Benji, didn't he? Oh, everyone grew up wanting to be Benji Marshall and the flick passes and whatever. And then for a little spell, there was no one really like that. Benji had changed his game, he'd gone to rugby union, and then Johnson sort of took over the mantle of
the SJ. Just the step.
Yeah.
It wasn't even so much the flick passes, it was the step.
Everyone wants to be
lethal.
That frightening look that can embarrass big
And
players.
he set the try up for. It was Luke Metcalf, by the way, the number 6 for the Warriors. The succession plan, I suppose you could call him. That if you put a try on for him with a lovely step.
Everyone growing up just wants to be that little halfback,
stepping away
through props and making them look silly, doing things that no one else can do. That try. I'm just thinking of England.
The try against England, yeah.
He was
13 semi-final.
2013, Wembley.
And he
packed
just
out, wasn't it?
Big players, big moments. He always stepped up and been a good enough.
Some player, and fair play to him for finishing on his own terms like that with an unreal try assist. And that brings us on to the try of the week. We've got to give it to Dallin, or Lionel Richie, as he's otherwise known on this podcast, in at the corner. But really, it was for Sean. You know, Sean Johnson laying that try on for him with his final touch of the ball. Commiserations to our honourable mentions. Carlos Tumavave, who scored off an outrageous Benji Marshall style flick pass from Herman SASA, and also Sexy Tex Hoy scored a lovely try against his old club. And we were thinking that might be the try of the week, but we had to give it to Dallin at the end of the day, just for how special that moment was.
Yeah, understandable.
Did you see his wife was in the crowd there celebrating the final game? She probably came up with one of the best signs I've ever seen.
Why do the Warriors fans always have the funniest signs? That guy last year, if I die, bury me in a Warriors jersey so I can come back. That was a good one. That Tuivasa sidestep that thing this year was good. But she had one, didn't she? Mrs. Johnson had one.
I didn't see this. What did it?
It said, "I still get to play with Sean Johnson."
Nice.
Straight to the point, wasn't it?
Straight to the point.
Belted.
Next up on the set of 6 is going to be the Player of the Week. Player of the Week, and we've decided to give it to someone in the NRL this week. It's not Sean Johnson again, don't worry, we're not going to talk about him again. It was the Hammer, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, who I've described previously as the most exciting rugby player in the NRL. He had an excellent game against the Broncos, didn't he?
Yeah, two tries, loads of line breaks, loads of running metres, 50 odd post contact metres. Played in the centre. They had him lined up at full back. He's a full back. He plays full back for the Dolphins regularly, but Origin has played centre mainly. They brought him in they moved him to the centre. They got an injury at the house and brought in the young full back. What's his name? Is it Trey Fuller?
Fuller, yeah.
Although
actually, if it looked at times as though Hammer was playing halves.
Yeah,
I don't know if
they had a bit of a switch between him and
Avarillo. It looked like he was playing halves at one point, and he just tormented the Broncos.
There's something about him for me. People are quick, and he's lightning. He's up there, but he makes it look like he's just jogging.
Yep, he absolutely steamrolled through the middle of the field. He is, and Dolphins admin did this a few months ago. He is the embodiment of the Mario Kart star. When you get the star on Mario Kart, you speed up, you just run through everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what kind of ground you're on, you're just rapid. He is just that. If he gets the ball, he just is run through everybody.
I remember seeing a clip the other week on an NRL social media page, and it was the Hammer going through. One of the commentators said, "You know what?" And he asked the other commentators, "Has he ever been caught?" And the other one said, "No, I don't think I've ever seen the Hammer on a break get caught."
No, he's unreal.
That brilliant when he scored for Queensland last year. Was that last year? With the Inception music where he sidestepped Tedesco.
It's just unreal player.
Yeah, he's brilliant, isn't he? And the final thing for the set of 6 this week is we have got a shot of the week.
Yes.
In fact, we had 2.
We had a couple to choose from this week, didn't we? Spot for choice.
So we made it to the end. Did we get a kick away here?
This is the last.
We completed the set.
We completed the set for the first time. We completed the set. 3 Eyecatchers, a try, a player, and a shot.
Yeah. Junior December.
Yeah.
This is the guy who's got it. He's shot on Mike McMeekin. He was put out to second row to deal with him, and he hits him, drives him back 5-6 metres. A really impressive shot.
Can we believe we're at the stage now where he's still a teenager or is he 20?
He might have just turned 20.
Either way, Mike McMeekin is now getting moved position to deal with Junior December. Are we actually okay with this athlete that we've got on our hands, that someone like McMeekin is being tasked with bottling him up? What a threat he's turned into.
Yeah.
It's unreal that. Zach Eckersley deserves a
honourable mention.
Yeah,
honourable mention.
Zach.
Nice, Furijaha catching the ball on a bit of a short ball.
Jams in, doesn't he?
I think Yaha was the man over and Romano had the ball, maybe. And he hits the centre, doesn't he?
He jams in, so as soon as he catches it, he kind of jams in and gets him, bends his back and gets him right in ribs, so it was another good shot. Both from the same game as well.
Yeah.
Players.
It was perfect timing. That's the thing with them. You've got to hit it.
Yeah.
You saw a couple in other games in Super League you talk about, and you just don't get there, and you end up in no man's land.
Well, the ball goes over the top, and you get stranded. So there's our set of 6 anyway. Happy with that, and we'll be back again with another set next week.
So we're going to go around the grounds now. We're going to start off on Friday. There was 2 big games Friday. Unfortunately, you can't watch both, but I had one on the iPad for Super League Plus.
Super League Plus, by the way, for me, worked perfectly. Every time I watched it this weekend. I don't know.
Sorry, not Super League Plus.
Sky Sports.
Sky Sports Plus. But
Sky Sports Plus worked perfectly for me both times I tried it on Friday and Sunday. I guess
No
not really.
complaints.
Yeah, no complaints from me. I know a few people have had some trouble with it, but certainly for me, it's worked a treat.
Yeah. If we start off with the first one, Lee hosted Warrington. We've already talked about the Paul Vaughan red card. That was probably one of the big moments in this game. Jack Hughes nearly got double yellow carded for 2 high hits immediately when he came back on. That would have been interesting to see. Tries for Lee, Latelli, Frankie Halter, and Josh Charnley gets his customary try.
Yeah.
Sam Powell and Matty Ashton for Warrington.
I think Charnley's puts him, is it 2 off Danny Maguire?
2 off Danny Maguire.
He went past it, yeah.
I tell you what, remembering he had 2 seasons in,
Yeah, about 18 months
in rugby union.
at Sale.
But then he had a year in Championship.
Yes.
So, I know Hall had his year in the NRL, and
All had 2 years.
did he have 2 years in the
At
NRL?
least 18 months.
I think he will beat him if he plays at the same age. He's a lot younger than him.
I think Charnley will beat him.
16 points to 12. This is a massive, massive win. And
Bro, it's huge for Lee. You could see how much it meant to Lee's players and the supporters at the end. It was huge for Lee. This. They needed to beat one of Hull KR or Warrington as a minimum, and they've done it. They just need to take care of business in their other home games.
Yeah.
The one game against
Cass.
yeah, and then the home game is at the end of the season against St Helens.
And I think it puts them in prime position to get top 6, which they had a bad start. I know they had a lot of injuries and whatever. They really struggled at the start.
Yeah, they did.
And I think they could cause an upset in the playoffs. If they get a team on the right day and they play, they could beat anyone.
Yeah.
Warrington, I think, possibly needed this. They'd won a lot of games back to back and possibly getting a little bit ahead of themselves. I think this might just be a game that brings you back down to earth.
Yeah, they weren't terrible with 12 men.
No.
They weren't terrible. I think they left out a few players, didn't they?
I was just saying as well, I thought about this at the time, Vaughan obviously he's got 3 games, so he'll miss the last 3 league games, but we're ready for the playoffs.
If they get Vaughan and Dufty back for the playoffs,
They're two
well
big
rested,
additions.
that's a big boost for your team.
He got banned similar time last year.
Yeah.
Missed 6 games. That was for lifting an injured player, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I'm sure it was 5 or 6 games he got for lifting an injured player and he missed the playoffs.
Serious.
So they'll be glad he's not missed the playoffs. Right, let's move on. Hull KR Salford. Hull KR winning 32 points to 12. I was a little bit disappointed with Salford in this. They stayed with them for the first 10-15 minutes. But then I just thought they got walked through too easy.
They tried to cheat the game.
Yeah.
Hull KR's pack, we know it's not necessarily the biggest, but they barged down the front door and got into some really good ball. And you give a team like Hull KR good ball the way they're playing, they're going to cause damage.
I mean, that's the thing with OK at the minute, and that's why they've been so successful on this run they're on. Like you're saying, the pack isn't the biggest, but they know how to play, don't they? Every single one of those players knows what their job is. They know when they're going to put players on, and they know when they're going to go, and they know when they're going to be reserved, and they just feel like such a well-oiled team and a well-drilled team. Adding that some individual brilliance without Mikey Lewis and Mays playing at the minute.
They've got enough X Factor. They've got X Factor in the centres.
Yeah.
With
We've talked about back line.
I know Gildar didn't play, but there's X Factor there with Gilly and Hiku. Evalds is a steady fullback who'll do a good job for you.
Budgie's quick, you give him half a yard and he's gone with pace.
Ryan Hall's a great finisher, makes you great meters. Yeah. So their strength is definitely the back 7.
Yeah.
And if you give them good ball, they will cause problems.
Yeah, they've got some hard-working forwards, though, that give the backs a platform, which every good side needs. Is what that Leeds side had. Everyone, and
every good team's had.
Every good side gets the backs that get talked about. But the forwards
what's
are
that saying?
Hard-working.
Packs win games. Backs decide by how much.
And then it's also props with pops. When it comes to September, October time, your forwards win you the big ones.
Yeah.
Certainly with the way that Hull KR play with those workhorses.
Do you think backs are really like hard done to with that?
Yeah.
So especially as the game's developed now.
Yeah.
It's the backs who get you out to exit sets and try and take up the first couple of carries, always the tough ones. Then they score the tries and I put the Blaze on. And
but I'm going to disagree slightly. Still, just because, what is it that everyone says drains you?
defending and tackling. Yeah,
and it's your big men in the middle that have got to make 40, 50 tackles
Yeah.
in big games.
yeah.
Your back's doing that hard work is to give your props a break. If your props didn't need it, they'd probably take tackles 2, 3 and 4.
I do think, though, that the backs have to work an awful lot harder than they did when that saying was...
That's what I mean. Yeah, I think the backs were still going, hold on a minute, we take carries 1 and 2. We have put the players on, we have finishing the corner. It's not easy anymore without defending. We have to learn how to do these fantastic finishes, and we're still kind of get the credit. But
Right, next game, Saturday, was it a 12 o'clock kick-off, this one? Was it 3 o'clock? I can't remember.
3, I think.
By 3 p.m.
3 o'clock kick-off, it was, sorry. Cass winning 39 points to 20. What got off to a flying start, 24-6 up in 30 minutes. Hull KR got it back to 24-20. Cass went down to 11 men for a spell.
This was another Clinton's Cards game, this one. Sponsored by Clinton's, he was dishing them out. Like it was Christmas.
I know he kept on saying, well, I know what was written on those cards. Well, it's forceful, it's to the head, but there is some mitigation. Exactly what he said to, I think, every single person who got
and dangerous, but with mitigation.
Forceful and dangerous, but there is mitigation. So you're going for 10.
But, sorry, we were just talking about Lee and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but Nemel got a yellow card, will miss 2 games. Horn got a yellow card, will miss a game. So 2 big outs for the Lee match.
Yes.
Makes it an even difficult game, even more. But what really amazed me was they went down to 11 for about 3 minutes. After 7 minutes of the second yellow card, Yusuf Aydin gets a yellow himself, and then Cass put on more points and end up running away with this game, 39 points to 20. I always love when teams take a drop goal and then score after.
Disrespectful drop goal. No, it wasn't a disrespectful drop goal, was it? The drop goal took them to
13.
To 13. And then
3 converted tries. And then Tex Hoy went and scored again. He loves to try against his old team, doesn't he?
Sexy Tex.
Loves it. Bad for Hull FC. And it could have got worse if London had managed to win. We'll talk about that now.
Or just get a draw.
Yeah.
Which they were 2 minutes away from.
Yeah.
They would have gone bottom, Hull.
Leeds beat London at London, 21 points to 20 with was Croft who hit the drop goal to make it 21-20 in Golden Point.
London, I was rooting for them. I really, really was rooting for them. But, with this good group of lads they've got that are going to be going back to part-time and most of them are going to be moving on to different clubs, I was really rooting for them to win this game. They've worked so hard, but they just bombed so many chances. I was thinking, come on, London, I'm rooting for you. And then they missed about 18 shots at a drop goal. And I thought, you just know what's going to happen here.
Reece Martin drew this game against London.
Reece Martin 20, London 20, yeah. And then Broycroft knocked
kicked everything. London outscored them.
At one point I thought Reece Martin was going to come in field and try a drop goal himself because it was only the way anyone was scoring.
But London outscored them 4 tries to 3. Missed their 2 conversions.
He hit the post, didn't he, with his touchline conversion to win the game.
Yeah.
Gutted for him.
He missed one from Kershaw as well, obviously from wide out.
But Miludi, he messed the try up. Miludi cost them.
That would have took London off bottom.
They had one where Josh Rourke did his party piece of out jumping a fullback and scoring, but he was offside. They would have. Do you think they deserve to be above Hull? They've taken Leeds to Golden Point twice. They've beaten Hull twice.
They beat
Catalan. They also lost to Hull in the last minute. So on aggregate, they'd definitely be beating Hull.
They've stayed in a lot of games.
They had Didn't somebody else score in the last minute to beat them?
They've lost 2 or 3 games. They lost to Salford 12 points to 4.
Yeah.
Huddersfield 26 points to 6.
I think they've shown more on the field than Hull FC have this year.
When Hull FC beat them, they only beat them by 4.
So the last second try. The last second try from Morgan Smith.
So
that magic performance alone, they showed more to me that day than Hull all year.
Definitely. Obviously, Leeds get the win. Big 2 points for them. Does keep them in the playoffs contention. 1 point behind Lee. But points difference isn't in their favour, really.
Still don't think they're going to get it, though.
I don't think they're going to get it.
When you just talked about Lee, and if you compare those two, how did Lee look compared to how Leeds looked? I think you're going Lee every day of the week for that 6th spot, aren't you?
I think Leo win against Cast this week. So
Catalan looked better against us.
They did. Look better than
Catalan, we didn't talk about this. Catalan needed a rocket. After the last two performances have been pretty average, they had an awful Magic weekend. They were poor against Leeds, yeah. They're coming back home. You know that owner of theirs, Bernard Gouache, he was unhappy because he's always unhappy, giving them 2 thumbs down when he's watching them in the stand whenever they lose. He was embarrassed when they got beat by London. In front of the home fans, they needed a response, and
they got a good
they put in a decent response.
Catalans have got a good running.
I
They've got
think
London at
Catalan-
home and Hull FC.
When you've got 2 home games, they've got 2 home games.
No, they've got Salford away, London at home, Hull FC away.
Yeah,
The last 2, they should
they
be.
should win the last 2, so that should put them in.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair
to
enough.
Salford. We're going to go on to the last game, Sunday. Huddersfield, Salford. Huddersfield, St Helens, sorry. 18 points to 10. This finished. It was 10-6 to Huddersfield at half time. But Fenton Rodgers red card. With about 40 seconds to go.
A terrible time to get red carded because your team had just pretty much guaranteed you were going to go in half-time level. It was an awful time to concede.
It's definitely a red card.
They did the same thing as Vaughan.
And then Saints come out 2 tries from Metallica and Robertson. Noah Stevens gets a yellow card.
That's Robertson's first try. He's been good for them, hasn't he, the last couple of months?
Yeah,
He looked a bit shaky with the... They were putting some spiral bombs up. I think Lola here was pestering him with some spiral bombs, and Clune had one. And he dropped a couple, but he come back into this game nicely.
Yeah.
And scored a try to finish it off the game. So you've got to respect that. That Stevens yellow card was comical. Do you see that?
No, I missed that.
They kicked it dead, St Helens, and they wanted a quick tap. Huddersfield wanted a quick tap. And Noah Stevens stood on, the place where you tap the ball, the 20-metre line in the middle, where the hash mark is where you tap the ball. He just stood there, waited for him to tap the ball and tackled him. So the ref went, well, you're miles offside. You're delaying the restart, go off for 10. And he just walked off because he didn't even have a complaint because he did it on purpose. It was a deliberate...
Didn't Kieran get done for delaying a 20-metre restart?
Yeah, because he threw the ball over the fence.
Yeah. If you do it, you're going to get penalised, aren't you? So
Yeah. He just he stood right next to where the guy was tapping the ball, waiting for him and just tackled him straight away.
fair enough, innit?
He saved his team, I suppose.
Yeah. Talking about Robertson, where do you see him next year for Saints? Obviously with Saylor and Wellesby.
Robertson.
I think Wellesby will play in the halves.
Probably put him in the same bracket as Eckersley for us, if we can keep hold of him. He'll probably fill in anywhere 1 to 5. We've got any injuries. And maybe play 10 games.
I think that'd be really good.
I've
I've been impressed with him.
I wouldn't be sending him out on loan, definitely. I would
No.
keep him around the squad, get him in the match day 21,
Yeah.
every week.
So that wraps up all the games. Still very, very interesting. Obviously, top 2, Hull Care and Wigan on 38. Warrington in 3rd on 34. They need a lot of results to go their way. Probably guaranteed 3rd now. They're 6 points clear of 4th. So they might just be prepping now. I don't think they can make a push for the top 2.
I think they possibly could if the game takes a lot out of us and Hull Care this week. They possibly could, because whoever wins that might lose the following week because they've got tricky fixtures.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a side who've lost, so you never know. But it would be a miracle.
They'd have to have a lot go their way.
Yeah, would have to have a lot go their way.
It's that playoff spot for me. That's keeping it in. Obviously, the league leaders shield, and then who's going to get that
Second
6th
place
spot?
or 6th spot? Yeah.
But
Sixth spot, yeah.
that does guarantee Warrington a home game against whoever.
If you had to back the 3 clubs that'll make it now, who would you go with? In what order?
In what order?
4, 5, and 6. I think I'm going to go for Lee. I might go for Lee. No. I think I'm going to go Catalan, Lee, Saints. I don't even know if that's possible.
I'm going to go Lee in 4th.
I can see that.
I think Lee will beat Cass and I think they'll beat Saints. I think Saints will win. They've got to play Cass. I think they'll win there. They've got to play Warrington, so I can only see them getting 30 points. And I look at Salford. I think they'll beat Catalan, which will take them to 30.
Do you think Salford beat Catalan? I think Catalan. Oh, giving away my prediction now. I think Catalan are going to win this weekend.
Actually, I think Salford will get 4, Lee will get 5, Saints will get 6.
Really? See, my 4th place, you've got 7th, and your 4th place, I've got 7th.
Lee, Salford, Saints, aren't we?
I think we've all said something different than that.
So do you think Salford don't win any of them next?
I think Salford maybe win.
They've got Catalan at home.
They maybe
Hull
win that
FC
Hull
away.
FC game.
That takes them to 30 points. That means Catalans need to win 2 more games and they have to win all 3.
Catalans will win all 3. I think Catalans win all 3.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know how possible that is that I've even just said, but I think Catalan will win all 3. And Salford will win 1 more game. And Lee will win 2. Wait. Yeah, Lee and Saints will win 1 each.
I'll put Catalan to 30 and win in 4th.
I think Catalan will finish 4th. Someone's
Oh,
going
no,
to
sorry, no. If that happens,
I think someone's going to
Saints
France.
might finish 4th on points difference.
Oh, yeah,
the points
maybe,
difference favours Saints.
But Saints and Catalan might have to play each other. That would be a great game.
4v5.
Yeah.
Warrington Lee, you've predicted.
That would be a great game as well.
Especially after
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Oh,
I hope that happens just because the absolute cinema that will be week 1 of the playoffs with those 2 games got brought up.
Sam Burgess kicking crap out of David Bowman for chatting crap on Twitter.
That would be a half-time entertainment. Yeah.
Right.
There was a crossbar challenge at Saints half-time entertainment. And I was just thinking about the weirdest half-time entertainment that you've ever seen. What would it be? The Wire Flyer? A green morph suit racing people. We were kicking a ball into a bed a few weeks ago, weren't we?
Something once with a tumble dryer. You had to throw a ball into a
Throw a
tumble
ball
dryer.
into a tumble dryer.
Can't remember where that was at.
I was once at Shark Park and they were sponsored by a recycling company, and they gave these supporters wheelie bins, and then stood at the other end with a t-shirt and kind of they fired the t-shirt, and these supporters had to run around with the wheelie bin and catch the t-shirt in it.
That's interesting.
That was a good game.
Right, we're going to move on. Take a quick break. We'll come back with the news.
Okay, boys, so it's time for the news. It's been a quiet week, I think, in Rugby League this week, compared to the stories we normally have. First news story. Houghty. Danny Houghton has announced his retirement from the game. Obviously had a very good career at Hull. Won a couple of times cuts with them.
Yeah.
And I think even through all this, he's been a kind of a shining light, I think, a really good servant, set himself as a fantastic example. I think he's been a one-man club. Did he start with Hull FC, didn't he? I know, obviously, I've never seen him anywhere else, but I couldn't remember he did start with her. But
He has only ever played for Hull.
so he's a one-man.
I think Wilkin was saying that yesterday.
Yeah.
He was a one-club man, yeah. He's only ever played for Hull.
Yeah. So, wish him all the best in his retirement. Like I said, he's been a really good servant to the game, had a long career, some success there with a couple of cup wins with his hometown club, the club he supported as a kid. Growing up watching, so
He'll always be remembered for that tackle. Was it tackle 52 or something, is it called? Where he basically broke the record for most tackles in a cup final while simultaneously saving a try.
Yeah, the tackle on Ben
to
Curry.
to winning the try, to winning the cup final.
Made him knock on, didn't he?
That's a
great tackle.
I think he'll always be a legend just for that. Even if he never did anything else.
Yeah.
But the rest of obviously what he's done has made him even more of a legend.
Yeah. Second news story we've got this week. Weird one this. Well, I don't know. Maybe weird, maybe not. Chris Hill, currently at Huddersfield Giants, has been announced as available to clubs.
No, I think this is a weird one. I think
I suppose Burgess is coming in, isn't it? Tom Burgess.
Yeah.
But I thought they want to earn at the time now
They've
where
missed him
they're
this
really
year.
struggling.
The pack.
They need leaders,
They've
don't they?
missed
They
him.
need experience, they need leaders.
When he's not played very much and they've missed him this year.
Yeah.
He's a good player, he's a leader.
Who do you think might be after him?
Well,
I've got 2 clubs that have just sprung to mind.
he could go back to his hometown club.
That's Lee, isn't it?
Lee.
Well, Lee was the first one that came to my head. Obviously, they're losing Amon. So
I saw Brad Singleton play for Salford and think Chris Hill's an upgrade.
I'm surprised with Leeds.
Leeds, it's whether or not he wants to move that far. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Huddersfield's pretty central, isn't it? So
They still lives this way, travelling to
yeah,
Huddersfield.
but travelling to Huddersfield different to travelling to Leeds, isn't it? I could travel to Huddersfield. But
There's plenty that do it though.
yeah, there are. We'll see. We'll have to see because I think. Well, I don't know, but I reckon there's still some left in tank for Chris Hill going another 12 months. And
It'd certainly help teams that have got a struggling pack.
He does.
Yeah.
Any team that wants to boost their pack and have a bit of leadership in the pack.
A bit of leadership, bit of experience. I think so. Another former Huddersfield player, Denny Levi,
Yeah.
being offered to Super League clubs. Where is he currently playing?
Is it Canberra?
Canberra.
I thought it was
Yeah,
Canberra.
yeah.
He's not been a regular, has he?
He's played quite a bit, but he's
Played
not
a bit,
been.
but he seems like he plays 2, misses 1,
Yeah.
and not through bans or injuries.
No, yeah, just selected and then not selected. But yeah, he's been offered to Super League clubs. Trying to think if he can, who would take him.
I think Huddersfield would have him back. I think Hull would have him.
Yeah.
There's plenty that would.
Salford. If Borough leaves. Borough's leaving, isn't
Catalan maybe,
yeah,
Mickey Mac going into the
Mickey
TKO and stuff, so yeah, possibly.
he? You can't just go with just the Costa, can you? So
No, they need another,
maybe Levi would be good for it. That's a good shout, that Catalan.
Yeah, possibly. And then the last news story for this week, Andy Last is back in the game. So obviously last time we heard about Andy Last, he was the head coach of Catalans Tigers.
I think he's been working with Catalans Dragons this year.
Has it? Has it been in the Catalans?
I saw him on
He was
television.
doing with England once after the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he was always about in England for the back room.
I think he's been doing stuff with Catalan this year.
Right,
I think he'd be a great assistant though.
Well, yeah. So the
plenty
news
of
story is he's back in the game. He's back. He's going to Hull FC, not as a head coach, obviously with John Cartwright, isn't it? Yeah, I know it was Cartwright. John Cartwright coming in, but he's going to be involved in the backroom staff essentially. So maybe as an assistant coach role or something like that.
Them two could swap stories about being assistant coaches. They've probably been assistant coach them two for 100 years between them.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. Obviously, Cartwright's got the head job. But he's always been an assistant.
Well,
hasn't he?
when we spoke about Andy Last before he got the cast job, it was like he's always the assistant.
Yeah.
He's never the head.
But
That's the Australian view of Cartwright.
yeah, but it's weird when a guy gets promoted that job. They always talk about who's going to do what you did. You can't just carry on being the coach that you are. You've got to manage players. There's a lot more.
That's the Jason Demetriou story. Yeah.
So who's going to be the John Cartwright for him? And picking up Andy Last is a very, very experienced assistant. He's been around the game a long time.
Been at the club before, hasn't he?
He's highly rated. A lot of people rate him as a coach.
Yeah, people do
Wayne
still
rates
like
him.
as assistant coach. He's clearly got a good record and at that club too.
I think that's what Hull needs, don't they? They need experience. They need, people who've been around the game for a long time for coming to steer in the right direction. I think.
I think you missed one news story off concerning a certain red-haired former prop forward.
So this is. I was going to leave it off because Tom's literally it's breaking news.
Breaking news.
This one.
5 minutes ago.
Tom at the side of me has literally just been talking to me about it, and I'm still
In shock.
bewildered, really. Yeah, in shock, bewildered, whatever you want to call it. So, the red-haired man that Matty is talking about is James Graham, and it has been announced that he's making, and I'm not making this up, his professional wrestling debut for the PWA, which is the Professional Wrestling of Australia.
13th of October.
13th of October, he is tag teaming with...
What's in here?
What's his name? Who's
Just
tag
let me
teaming
jump
with?
over to Instagram.
You have to find the name now. He's going against Ricky the Example South. And what was the tag team partner?
Blackman Lex.
Or Blackman
the
Lex.
regime.
That's the regime. So they're going against Ricky the Example South and Blackman Lex.
Who make up the regime.
And his tag team partner is called...
Jack J. Bonza. That's a proper Australian
What
wrestler.
Instagram? Is that PWA?
That's actually
Whose
off.
post is that?
That is Ricky.
The example.
Yes.
Right, so if you want to have a look at this, there's posters for everyone. Make it. Go to the Ricky. Is it Ricky? What's his Instagram handle?
T.E. Ricky South.
T.E. Ricky South.
T.E.
But
Ricky
if you want to listen to the actual.
T the example. Ricky South.
So just be clear with this. This has been going on for a while. A couple of people called James Graham out, saying like, you don't know what it's like to be a wrestler.
Which is true.
And he said, come and try and play a proper game like rugby.
Which
Like,
is also true.
He then went into the it's just acting and whatever. went down that line. This fella's come on his podcast, The Buy Round. Well, he did an Instagram post saying that...
Ricky, the example said this.
Saying that he... I wouldn't say anything on a podcast. I'd say it to your face. I'm not doing it over social media. So he went on to The Buy Round and they had it out, and James Graham said, "I'm a man who sticks to my word. I'm not gonna back out." And
well, this exact story happened with Adam Cole and Pat McAfee in America, and if they can do a good match like that, I'll be impressed. You might know Ridge Holland in WWE is formerly known as Luke Menzies, who played rugby for Hull KR and I want to say Salford. Anyway, when he made his debut for WWE, it was under the name Luke Menzies, I think, and he was built as basically just Yorkshireman. That was his character. His character was just Yorkshireman, and him talking about how grim Yorkshire is and how tough he has to be to come from Yorkshire. And they just used to put in footage of him playing for Hull KR on the big screen. And then he's gone through a few character changes, and now he's a bad guy again, as you would call professional wrestling, a heel character. But there's obviously form for rugby league players to go over to professional wrestling, and James Graham's going to try and be the next big thing. I think Graham's probably a bit too famous to make it big.
The British Canterbury Bulldog, you could call him.
That's brilliant.
The British Canterbury Bulldog.
The British Canterbury Bankstown Bulldog.
Yeah, so take that news story and do whatever you want with it. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know where I could tell you where you could watch that in October.
I really hope he's good.
I don't know where it's being streamed. I have no idea. But yeah, follow, maybe check it out on Instagram. Follow it. See if you can see any highlights of James Graham in the ring, in the squared circle.
I want to see him take a bump.
Take a bump. With Ricky the example, south. And go from there.
Well, his finishing move's just got to be a headbutt, like after what he did to Sam Burgess.
Yeah. Shouting down people's ears like he did to Billy Slater.
Just don't set off any pyro. He doesn't like fireworks, does he?
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see how James Graham does on there.
And on that bombshell,
That's the end
it's time to end the news. That's everything for this week. We'll be back with a bit of NRL after the break.
So, got a little bit of NRL to look at. Obviously, that's really hotting up now with a week to go before the playoffs. They've got one more game this week. Going to start off with North Queensland versus Melbourne. Now, Melbourne have already wrapped up the minor premiership with 2 games to go. They went up to North Queensland, lost 38 points to 30, handed out 4 debuts off the bench, lost Pappenhausen in the first 15 minutes, lost...
Shock.
It's fine. It was just a precautionary one. And one of the props, I think it was, who went off after 20 minutes and was still pretty good. Went nearly beat a full strength North Queensland side. Who do you think wins it? Who do you think wins the comp?
Well, them
Can't
injuries,
look past Melbourne for me.
them injuries to Roosters means I can't look past Melbourne. I mean, Nathan. If Nathan's injured, that severely hampers Penrith's chances. So I think Melbourne are the red hot favourites, aren't they?
I think there's a few dark horses in there. Bulldogs. I fancy the Bulldogs could turn someone.
If Bulldogs do it, that's the best. I don't want to say the best.
It might not. It might be. It might be.
Certainly in my living memory, it's the best
Come back.
to win from where they were last year.
If
they even get to finals.
Talking of them, they lost to Manly, 34 points to 22. Manly got beat by West last week.
I said this before we started recording this section, they're so inconsistent, man.
Yo-yos.
I watched the highlights of this and they're just starting to link up again.
Hey, there was another shot of the week, wasn't there?
Yeah.
From that second row, I can never say his name.
Olakawatu.
That's him.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say it.
absolutely-
No. That's one you can do.
He knocked someone's boots off with a big shot this week.
He does like a big... Well, Manly just all like a big shot, don't they? They're famous for that.
But if Turbo can get it going with Cherry Evans and Luke Brooks,
They're a good side.
they can beat anyone on the
They
day.
are a good side.
Beat Canterbury. Again, just an off day for them, really.
Manly played well.
Manly played really well. I don't think Canterbury were at the best though.
No.
Penrith beat South 34 points to 12. South cannot wait.
Easy win for Penrith, this one. You never think that Rabbits would be an easy win, but they are.
To be fair to the Rabbits, they've got to play the Roosters, so hopefully they have something to play for there to try and upset their...
They could play spoiler against the old rival.
Yeah. You talked about angry coaches before, Lewis.
Yeah,
and you missed one. Shane Flanagan.
Yeah.
His team, the Dragons, fighting for the 8, lose to Parramatta 44-40. They were 44 points to 12 down after 65 minutes.
44-12 down with 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
And they nearly won. They're the first team ever to score 40 points and lose.
Yeah. And just to point out with this, to make it a little bit worse, Dejan Arce was kicking and missed 5 shots at goal for Para. So it could have been 52.
Angry coach, though.
Very angry coach. Seen his press conference after.
Yeah. He stormed out, didn't he?
He stormed out, dragged Ben Hunt with him. he told him it's not good enough, it's not acceptable. Was fizzing and then just went, I can't do this, and just got up and left.
He was very cross.
Yeah. The Dolphins, they beat the Broncos. Do you remember Katoni Staggs giving it that this is our home?
Yeah.
The Dolphins have gone to Suncorp, beat Brisbane, and basically stopping Brisbane getting in the 8. Dolphins are in the 8. They win next week. It's their spot. They got the points difference. Everything's in their favour though.
See, Fairmouth's got 2.
Yeah, played very well. Played right centre this week.
Yeah.
Fairmouth was good in this game.
New Zealand, we've already talked about, beat Cronulla in the last pass of the game.
Yeah.
Do you think Cronulla will have much of a chance there? They're sat in 4th, but they just seem to lose some strange games.
They've been hit and miss as well, haven't they? They've been in some, and then you go to the week after when they should beat a team, you think, quite easily, and then end up getting beat bad, and they've been they can't really get consistency, can they?
No, not at all. So that'll be interesting if they could hit form at the right time. Newcastle beat Gold Coast Titans. Just keeps Newcastle in with a chance. They need results to go their way. The Titans found that bit of middle form, didn't they, in the middle of the season? It just seemed to whimper away. Desi's got his work cut out there.
He has, yes.
Canberra winning 14 points to 12 against the Roosters. They left it late. The Roosters, they had a kick at goal, didn't they, to win, to draw the game,
to level it, send it to extra time.
but from Tupu, so without wide. Roosters, I think that's potentially their season cut short with injuries.
Yeah, it's a shame that.
Brandon Smith out, obviously.
You think they'd have made a very big push, wouldn't you?
I thought that they were my dark horses to win it.
It's easy for you to say, Dixon.
Yeah, not apparently not.
Bogey skin one week. What did he call it last week? The Overman.
Yeah, the Overman. Having a shocker at the moment.
No, what were that?
Just enter any noise though, because it was shocking. Brandon Smith out, Victor Radley out, potentially Sam Walker out.
Oh, I think Sam Walker, with that injury, God, it looked horrible.
It's the only one they haven't confirmed as being an ACL.
It looked disgusting.
Everyone's come out and said Radley's season's over. They've said Smith's season's
legs
over.
don't go the way that Walker's legs.
They're not meant to bend.
No.
It's just purely because they've not announced that one. I'm just a bit like...
What else could it be? His leg was looking like it was in the wrong direction for a bit of it.
Yeah. Really wasn't great. I think that really throws a hiccup there.
I agree. I think it's a real shame because it felt like now or never for the Roosters with this team.
Although there is an option. They've still got Julian Manu who can play in the halves.
Yeah, but it's a shame because those 3 players you just mentioned are 3 key starters. Spine players. Yeah, it's a shame that.
You want to see it, don't you, the NRL? You want to see the best teams with the best.
The best against the best, yeah. And then the Roosters are that, but it's unfortunate, and it was now or never, I think, for the Roosters with the way their squad's going to go next year.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to fire straight into predictions. Okay. Obviously, Wigan and Hull are up first. Don't have predictions, but What's the key battle in this? Where's this game won or lost for Wigan, from a Wigan's perspective?
I don't think it's a key battle. I think when we win this game, we need to do the basics well. So we talked about in the Wigan section, it seems quite evident, but we need to cut down our errors. We need to complete high,
in the 90s.
give Hull KR nothing, don't make it easy for them. And this is a big test, I think, for KR. If they really want to be taken as someone who could go to a grand final, even possibly be crowned champions, well, you've got a big Friday night game. It's not at Craven Park. You got to come to Wigan. You're on a good run of form. Can you keep it going?
I think it's an exciting challenge for Hull KR.
It is. It's very exciting.
I think you've got the chance to do something really special if you win this game, and if you lose it, you've still got the chance to do something really special. I think it's a really exciting opportunity for Hull KR. Whereas I think most of the pressure is going to be on us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. As a key battle, I'll go with Ellis against Minchella.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I like that
for those middle, loose forwards. They make the teams tick, don't they? But also hard workers, grafters. Whoever puts in a better performance into them two, you think would lay the best platform. French and Lewis, Field, Evil. They can work if they've got a platform. All of them, both teams. They've both got outside backs. Both teams have got good outside backs. Whoever lays a platform the best should win this game.
Yeah.
You know what? You said Ellis and Minchella. You know what else just hit me? The Battle of the Nines. Both teams have been starting Lehman and Parcell.
Parcell.
Who you would traditionally think are hookers that come off the bench and run and speed the game up for you. Jesleyton has usually certainly at the start of the season was starting at 9 and being better spelled, and we're going to got Tom Forber.
I wouldn't be too surprised to see Forber start this game off.
No, I
and Lehman come on after 25-30 minutes with those tied forwards.
Potentially.
Just as very well Forber did. I know you're putting him in the firing line there against some of the big lads line. I don't know if he'll do that, but I wouldn't be against it.
Trust him. Trust him. Right, predictions. We're going to keep this really quick now.
Yeah.
Warrington Saints at Warrington. Matty, who are you going?
Jumped over to Saturday, but yeah.
Warrington.
Is that on Saturday? Sorry, on mine it's saying Friday. Oh, sorry, might be wrong.
Would that one get moved?
Sorry, it did get moved.
That one got moved.
All right, well, so you're not upset, Lewis. We'll go back to Friday. Leeds, Hull FC.
Oh, Leeds to win this one.
Yeah, Leeds.
Can't see anyone losing to Hull FC. Castleford, Lee. At the Mend Halls. Castle got a lot to play for here. If they win, it takes them above Huddersfield.
Yeah, they've got those suspensions though. I think Lee are on fire at the minute and they'll win.
Yeah. I think Lee, but I'm hoping Cass do put up a fight and make it entertaining.
It could be a very interesting game.
Yeah,
I think
if Cass turn up,
there's 2 or 3 really good games this week, and Warrington Saints, Cass Lee could be a decent game. There's another one we had to talk about with Salford, but yeah, I think there's a few really good games this week.
I'm just thinking, looking at this season's results, obviously there was the draw at Lee.
That was a great game.
28-28, and Lee won at Cass 20 points to 10. Yeah, be a good one. Saturday. Now I can say it, Lewis. Warrington Saints.
I'm still going for Warrington.
I can't back Saints here.
No, I think Warrington, because, a bit like you just said, I can't back Saints where they're playing at the minute. They're not impressing me. They're not giving me enough to show they can go to the Halliwell Jones and turn Warrington over.
See green shoots.
The only thing...
Mbaye's played pretty well. Lomax was looking more like himself this week. Robertson's been a good player for him. But I do think Warrington have too much class.
As a team, though.
The only thing I possibly think here is Vaughan out, Duffy still out. If that Wigan Hull KR goes whatever way, do you think possibly Warrington think they can't get top 2, they're guaranteed 3rd?
No, they might think they can't get top 1, but they'll not give up on 2nd. Someone's dropping points out of the top 2 this week.
But they need all them 2 teams, Wigan and Hull KR, to lose all 3 games. So, I don't know.
I think they're building momentum for the playoffs, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Even though, I don't think they're necessarily thinking about the league position. I think they're more just thinking we need to be winning games, going into the playoffs and playing well and going in with as much confidence
and getting the wood
as we
over
can.
a potential playoff opponent.
Yeah.
Next one is Salford Catalans.
At Salford.
At Salford.
Yeah, interesting.
Did you
I
listen
was
to...
impressed. Go on, sorry.
Sorry, did you listen to... Was it John Wilkin talk about playing at Salford? Was it John Wilkin? I might be wrong here about who it is. About the difficulty going there and knowing that the crowds aren't great. And you can sort of be caught off guard by it. It was an interesting take, but it was before the Hull KR game. They were talking about how good Salford's home record is. They've only lost 2 games at home.
Both to us. And they should have won one of them.
He said that the fact that you go in there knowing it's going to be quiet, knowing it's not the biggest, most intimidating place, does it catch you off guard?
That Thursday night we went to, it was a pretty good atmosphere. They were...
No, his comments.
It's a weird comment. I just think that Salford should have more matches on Friday nights. Because they seem to be, when they get
their best nights.
Their best nights, but they seem to have a lot of Saturday and Sundays. And they're going up against United now as well, so...
I'm going to... pardon me. I'm going to go Catalan. I think they showed a bit of an improvement against us. I think Salford have been a bit lackadaisical to take the foot off the gas the last couple of weeks.
They look like a team that's tired for me.
They do.
You
That's
know,
what I mean.
And this could be the thing we talk about with Lee. If Lee make it...
If you asked me this maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, I think I'd have been going Salford all day. But
Yeah. They get, like I was saying, if Lee make it to the playoffs, they'll have expended a lot of energy to get there from the start they've made. And usually when you see a team like that, they just fall away the first week. I think this is Salford potentially falling away. I hope I'm wrong, because I want to see Salford get in the playoffs, but I could see them falling away now. They've had a couple of bad results. They look like a tired team.
yeah.
I agree with you. I'm just looking here. The last 8 games, they've won 3, all 3 at home. The 5 they've lost have all been away from home.
Yeah.
I'm
going for
Salford.
Catalan. I'm going for Catalan. You go for Salford.
I'm going Salford at home.
That game...
It's an interesting game.
That game is one to watch this week. They've been hyping up our game, but that game is certainly one to watch.
Last one. Huddersfield, London.
This is not one to watch.
I hope London win. I'm going to back London just... I'm back in London to say I've done it this season.
Well, I think I'll back London in Magic Weekend. I'll back London again, I don't mind. We're not even counting anymore.
Trust the process. Lewis.
You two both back London.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, I'll back Huddersfield, just make it interesting, a bit different.
Why not?
Doesn't matter, does it? It's a bit of an irrelevant game.
Yeah.
I hope London do it though, back to Huddersfield.
I don't think they deserve to finish bottom, so I hope they get
No,
one.
yeah, I hope.
That's my thing. I don't think they deserve that. Right. That wraps up this week's episode of The Wigan Way. Lads, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure again.
No problem at all.
Hope you enjoyed it.
And hope you've enjoyed listening, and we'll see you next week.